Hello, this is Dr. Dawn Michael, and I think I'm going to start calling myself hmm, the PC or the politically incorrect sexual counselor. Yeah, that's a good name because the trolls come after me all the time, only because I don't fit into the norm and I try to bring my viewers information that you won't hear anywhere else. So I'm going to continue to do that even though I have many people that don't want me to speak up. Today I'm going to talk about gender, and I think it's really important because it's been overly politicized and it is hurting people. People are having extreme problems with confusion, and I will tell you firsthand, I work with thousands of people. I've worked with thousands of people over the years from all over the world. Some amazing people that have sexual issues, and it's been a real journey. I've also written thousands of articles, and I've been quoted in many of the mainstream media publications for my work. And so I'm going to come out and talk about this idea of male, female, and transgender. Now, there are men that are born men and women that are born women. And when you have the biology of a man and a woman, you will always have the biology of a man and a woman. There are people that are born in a body that is, let's say, a man that may feel like a woman inside, and they may go on this journey to change their outward appearance to be that of a different sex. The problem with that is many of them change back. So there's a high percentage of people that change to, I'm saying outward appearance, meaning their physical body, the way they look. They could go through surgery, they could do hormones. They will change to look like that of a different sex than they are. But genetically, they are still, from a biology perspective, they still are who they were born. And what's happened is this has been politicized, and it's created a problem for cis men and cis women, meaning people who were born as a man and a woman who see themselves as a man and a woman. And we shouldn't even have to really say that because, again, there are men and women, and then there are people who are transitioning from a man to a woman or a woman to man. It is a transition, but biologically, they are still the same inside. And this idea that all of a sudden a man can decide that he wants to be a woman and play sports in a women's sports team or in a beauty contest or whatever is absolutely maddening. Most people who go through a transition, they really struggle with it. It takes a long time. It's not something that all of a sudden one day you wake up and you do or you don't do. And there's physical aspects to your body that you were born with that you cannot change. So for a man, the muscles are different. They're longer, they're stronger, they've gone through the second stage of development. And so therefore, physically, as far as strength goes, their bodies are going to be stronger than a woman's. And that doesn't change because they have chosen to have the outward appearance of the opposite sex that they were born. It doesn't change anything. They still have the strength. And so we don't see that women are biological women, women that are born women who change their outward appearance into a man are in sports. That doesn't seem to be an issue because physically, for the most part, they are weaker. And so what's happening is we have a crisis with men and women where something is taken away from them because somebody has chosen to change how they look on the outside. And that doesn't benefit anybody. And so people who are in transition, it's not a fad. It's not something that young people should be doing. It absolutely should never take place with a child because a child needs to go through the second stage of development. If a child is not allowed to go through the second stage of development, their brain does not develop properly because hormones change the way that they think. So if it changes the way that they think, how could they possibly know who they are if they haven't gone through the second stage of development? That's literally child abuse. I will say that. And for these practitioners and people pushing for children not to go through the second stage of development, I think it's criminal. I don't know why more people are not coming out against it. As well as teenagers and young adults. They don't know who they are. You see, there's so many different problems that can be taking place. And when I've worked with people over the years, some people have discovered that they're confused about arousal. They're aroused by something that may not be what their gender says they should be aroused, and they feel a certain way. And so maybe it's a body part they're aroused to, so it confuses them. And they think maybe that they need to transition because there's not enough information out there for them. But really, they just need to straighten out how they feel and understand themselves a little bit better. There's also people that have been abused that may not even understand that they went through some type of an abuse process when they were younger, and that's something that needs to be dealt with. There's people that have issues about body dysmorphia. That's a real issue that we have, and it's something that should not be discarded. So yes, you can have a person that doesn't have any of those issues and still has had the maturity and the years to maybe work through some other problems they were having, and then they decide, yes, indeed, they do not feel comfortable with their outward appearance. They may feel different inside and they want to transition, but they've gone through a process. And I will tell you, many of those people actually transition back. So how can we say they're a different gender or a different sex when they're transitioning back and forth? It's just somebody who's transitioning. The other problem is there's a very high suicide rate. And this has gotten worse since this transgender movement has been politicized. It's brought attention to people, and they don't want it, a lot of them. It has made it more difficult for them. The bathroom situation backfired because it actually made people feel mad about it. So your average person is now irritated with it. So it brings on more discrimination for maybe a transgender person who was just happy to go into a bathroom or find a single bathroom that just said bathroom on it. Now it's become a big deal, and they feel like they're being stared at, or some people are resentful. So this really didn't help. It didn't make the situation for them any better. It actually made it worse in many ways. But of course, nobody's talking about that. So if you're a person who has struggled through the process of transitioning, back and forth or whatever, you don't want the spotlight on you. You just want to go about your life. But we have it all backwards with this idea that the entire community, that all of the United States, or all the people that are born men, or all the people that are born women, have to change their way in order to not discriminate against a person who has chosen to go from the outward appearance of one sex to another. And they may very well feel inside that they are that sex, and I do not disregard that at all. But still, from a biological standpoint, they're not. And when we say that they are, we are discounting biological men and biological women. Look no further than what's happened in the sports community. It has put women at risk. Women have gotten severely hurt. Men are stronger than women. Even if they change their outward appearance, their bodies are still male bodies. They still have the muscles that they've developed over the years. They're longer than women. They're bigger than women. They're stronger than women. We have beauty contests where, the body has now been manipulated. Well, that wasn't allowed before. How is it all of a sudden allowed? So maybe there should just be a category for people who are transitioning back and forth. And the thing is, people don't always just transition from a male to a female. They'll transition back from a female to a male. So that's not even something that is talked about, that most of the people transitioning don't even stay that way or somewhere in between. So how does that affect cis male and cis female? It shouldn't. You see, it's all backwards. And that's something that I think more people should be talking about, because it creates problems in society where there doesn't need to be a problem. Women have lost scholarships to men that all of a sudden one day are a man that transitions into a woman. They are now competing against them and taking their scholarships. How is that fair? How is that just? How is that right? When quite possibly that person who transitioned will transition back in a year. Okay, it doesn't really work for anything, and we have to be real about it, and it's okay to talk about it because a lot of people are frustrated. And the person who is making a decision, again, to transition the way that they look on the outside, that is their choice. They've chosen to do that, but that should not be affecting other people. And that's something that I just wanted to bring to light, that we really do need to have real conversations about this and real honesty. And I think that if this is taken off of the political list, if it ever is, which I don't even know how that can happen, it would make it better for the people who are suffering from this idea that they feel differently. I think it really puts a burden on them, and I think it's made more teenagers confused, more adults confused, and more people rushing in to change the way that their body looks, to take hormones, which affects the way that they think. Okay, we don't even talk about that. Hormones affect the way that you think, how you act. I mean, they're very powerful drugs, or very powerful hormones. They change your thought process, the way that you feel, your emotions, everything. And so it's not something that someone should do lightly. They shouldn't be able to walk into a place and just say, oh, I want to, start on hormones. That's just crazy. It really is. It's just insane. And giving it to our kids or denying kids from going through their second stage development, it's insanity. How did we get to this place? And nobody's talking about it. It just is complete insanity. So I just wanted to bring you that information today. Please leave your comment. I really am interested in what you have to say. And of course, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and share my videos with everyone. As you know, I believe everyone deserves to have a healthy sex life, and so do you.